Becoming anti-racist apparently does not come naturally or easy, but the Madison Metropolitan School District is fully committed to that goal. Last week, it brought in the head of diversity from UW-Madison School of Education to work with teachers to identify anti-racist practices in the classroom.
What beliefs and mindsets do you bring into the classroom that really promote anti-racist practices?
You might be surprised to learn that teachers teaching too much is an example of racism. That's why in at least one elementary school, students are in charge of class.
The teacher takes the back seat and the kids step up to the front. We divide the classroom into districts, and each district becomes like a little family. And then each district then kind of helps lead the curriculum, lead the instruction, and their voices are heard. So I'm probably talking about 20% of the day, and the students are leading with their voices about 80% of the day.
Teachers taking the back seat, that flies in the face of white Western thought, right? The 80-20 rule, having the students engage in leading in the space 80% of the time. I think that's phenomenally innovative and truly anti-racist.
Keeping a class on schedule, racist.
So I think that's a big piece about white supremacist teaching, is that we are so on the clock, right? We have to, it's time for this, it's time for that.
Heck, just being boring is racist.
I think part of the most anti-racist form of teaching is that you are engaging an interesting teacher, educator, and person. And that's how you can engage your children to enjoy the learning, to enjoy the environment.
Even the very word student can be considered racist.
The understanding that when you're doing anti-racist education, that words matter. And a number of years ago, our school changed the label from student to scholar. What that I believe has done for us and our belief against anti-racism is to take that onus, like Iris was saying, like Tracy was saying, off the student as being somebody who we are imparting learning upon, and they're an active participant in their own educational journey.
And apparently, just being white can be compared to being a drug addict.
Looking to my friends who have gone through recovery and are maintaining their sobriety, the first thing they had to do in order to get healthy and to make a change in their lives is to admit that they had a problem. And being how I grew up, I had to admit that I have swum in the oceans of racism and have benefited from that ocean. Wow. And so if for as fast as I can admit that, yes, I am a racist, how could I not be? I have benefited from the system. The faster I can get to my recovery, the faster I can learn, listen, and do better on the daily.
It's not just the teachers under the microscope. What constitutes good behavior by students is also being redefined.
The little white child sitting in the corner reading the book, that is defiance. They are not engaged in learning. But how many times, as long as they're quiet in the corner doing their thing, is ignored. But the loud child in front of you is the one that's removed from the classroom.
Now, this was just a brief workshop, and the work of becoming anti-racist is a never-ending journey. Madison Schools is there to make sure all its teachers take that journey. It's mandatory. This year, teachers will spend at least 21 hours conducting anti-racist training. Any resistance or even reluctance to participate could result in being laid off. For the McIver Institute, I'm Bill Osmolsky.